Isabel talked a little bit about her volleyball experience at CI. That was a lot of fun. I was actually doing an administrative internship when she was there, so I get to be the person doing tickets and stuff for some volleyball matches, which is cool. Uh, Emily, your athletic stuff needs to be discussed a little further. Tell us about soccer.
Um, so as you guys know, I have cerebral palsy, and for all we know, I was born with it. It typically happens with like a stroke in the womb, and then by a miracle, some survive and are born, and so um, it's a permanent brain injury. But with that, motor function, walking, running, all of that can be quite difficult. I've had 11 surgeries so far in my life, that just solely for that. And one of the best things you can do with that is the more you can move, the better. Um, so my mom and dad were really supportive of that and signed me up for about every sport that you can possibly play. And I was terrible at every single one. And I wanted to quit every single one because I hated it. And the last one we did was soccer, and I wanted to quit that because I never got to play because I couldn't run well. So like I maybe would get like 5 minutes playing time here, 5 minutes playing time there, and I just hated it. But I was about 8 years old at the time. Nobody wants to play in goal because they don't want to have to dive to the ground or get hit with the ball. But our regular goalie, can't remember what happened, but she wasn't able to play. And I was over here like, well, I fall all the time. I'm really good at it. At least if I do it here, like it'll have a purpose. So I was like, yeah, put me in goal. I'm good with that. And then we realized I'm actually really good at that. And I'm known for like having no fear when I will take on players that are bigger than me. And a lot of what being a goalie is, it's mental, like getting into their head. Because even if you necessarily can't save a shot, if you can get in their head and make them miss, just as good. And so I continued playing through high school. I played rec, club, and even didn't go to regionals of National History Day freshman year because I had a soccer tournament and I would rather be there than Mr. Serbo was not happy with me, but it's the choice I made. I don't regret it. We won. And so when I went to Coastal before the pandemic, obviously, I joined the club team there, and during that time, so at the time we had a men's, it's under the Paralympic like header, but we had a men's cerebral palsy soccer team. They actually won bronze medal at the Rio Paralympics, and I remember watching that tournament. I remember being really inspired by those guys, and I actually emailed that head coach, and I was basically like, this is what I would like to do. Like, what do I need to be doing now? And I got the email back that if I wanted to do anything sports-wise at the Paralympic level, I needed to pick another sport, because, and this was 2016? At that time, the idea of there being a women's CP team, just like nobody thought it was going to happen. Fast forward to, and because of the pandemic, it got delayed a couple times, but fast forward to 2021, U.S. Soccer voted to create a women's CP team, and they narrowed it down to 60 eligible players. And they did a training camp January of that year. I was not able to go to that because they required that you have that like 3-day developed COVID test, and I wasn't able to get one before it. And they had said they were gonna narrow it down from 60. They had already narrowed it down from 60 from 30 to 15. Because the first women's CP World Cup was coming up in May, and I was like, great, I couldn't go. They're gonna easily eliminate me from that 15 players. But the way they set it up, you're constantly sending in videos and they'll tell you what they want to see, and you do that. So I continued to do that between January and March, even though I thought I was done out of consideration. But I was hoping, next set of games, maybe I'd get a chance. And I got that email in March that I had made it to the 15 player roster that they were looking at, and they did a training camp in San Diego at the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Training Center, which probably one of the coolest places I've ever been. And the U.S. women's rugby team was there at the same time. They're like 3 times bigger than I am, and we got to watch some of the other teams and that was really cool. I will say that was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, and I've had to relearn how to walk twice, and that was still easier than what I did that week in San Diego. It was amazing. It was awesome. And everybody here at Early College thought it was amazing and really supportive. Now, 10 players got to go to that World Cup in Spain. I did not make the roster as a one of the 2 goalies that got to go. I was the reserve goalie, so if something were to have happened to one of our goalies, I would have gotten to go. That's not how it worked out. But up until that point, I was really unsure that I was supposed to be there. It felt like a lot of the other players were better than I was, but I kept going at it. I'm still training now. I have not gotten to play for the U.S. yet, but I have gotten to be a part of different things the team has done, and I'm hoping that I'll soon get to play my first game for the U.S. But it's all a process, and especially as a goalie, you kind of have to wait till the opportunity presents itself, and then make the most of it when it happens. But my mentality is I don't know when the opportunity is going to come. If it comes, it may not. But I'm going to believe that it is, and I'm going to work so I'll be ready when that opportunity does come.
Perfect. Hopefully you call the similarities kind of between the 2 stories, because it really comes down to perseverance. We have a goal, whatever that goal may be, whether it be to make the team or find that dream career. There are going to be setbacks along the way, but you keep working towards it. And some of the interviews I've done this week with other alumni, that's been the same kind of thing. It's, let me keep training and let me be working towards something. And we're just constantly moving the thing forward. And for both of you, it's worked out pretty well, I'd say. For sure. All right, so we'll finish out the recorded interview part at this point. But be thinking, if you're in the audience, if you have any questions. They've done the early college thing. They have kind of started to figure life out. Very different paths. And you'll always hear me in economics talk about, we're all on a different path. There's no, well, what am I supposed to be doing? There is none of that, because we're all different. We're all going to kind of matriculate our way through life in a different way. But be thinking, what questions do you have for them? And if y'all don't come up with questions, I'm going to come up with some really hard questions, because I know them both pretty well.